Hello, welcome back. Right, it's been a bit of a while. I did take a break. It's been about a month since my last proper specky video for various reasons. My daughter needed the laptop and the space that I usually work at, the table over there, to do a study and a revision, etc. She's now finished those, but to be honest, I was actually enjoying the break because although I do love Spectrum games and making the videos, and I love the fact that you all love them as well, sometimes it can be a bit of a bind and it can just get on your wick after a while, especially when you're sort of having to set the thing up. Some tapes don't work properly first time out, so you've got to fiddle around with them, then you've got to sort of try and play the game for a bit to at least try and get some kind of understanding how to do it, with varying degrees of success, I might add, as you've seen. So I'm not going to lie, I did enjoy the break, but it wasn't going to be wasn't giving up or anything like that. I was just enjoying the break. So getting back on the horse, as the saying goes, into, and now as you can see by the title up there or down there in your whatever device you're watching it on, this is going to be the top 10 worst ZX Spectrum games that I own. Not the worst ones that I've played, although some of them are, but the worst ones in my actual collection. And it's obviously going to be fluid. I'm still going through all the sort of games and stuff that I've picked up recently, so there might be some right duffers in there. There's also going to be some shout outs, which I suppose I better get out of the way first, because otherwise if I leave them to the end I'm going to have forgotten by the time I finish rabbiting. Now there's people starting up new YouTube channels all the time. Getting the confidence to do so can be a little bit intimidating at first. You're not quite sure how people are going to react, etc., whether or not they're going to like what you do, what you say. And there are a few newer ones who are sort of just finding their feet in relation to their channels and their content, etc. They're slowly picking up some subscribers and they do some good stuff and they're worth checking out. And there's 3 of them that I'm going to name. Firstly, we've got David, Retro Games Played Badly, Birdsall, who's my mate David Birdsall, and as you can tell he plays retro games very badly. Not quite as badly as I do, but nevertheless he gives it a good old go at sort of reaching Bazza's level. It's not all Spectrum orientated, but there's a good Spectrum bias in his channel, and he sort of plays and talks whilst he's playing and shares his insights, etc. Really nice little channel, so go and follow him, or go and check him out. Follow him if you like what he's doing. Give him some encouragement. Second one is my friend Graeme Mason. Now you'll know Graeme if you read Retro Gaming, Eurogamer, he writes for them. He's actually responsible for most of my collection as it is, because he has this annoying habit of buying up loads of stuff, taking me to the pub, getting me drunk, and then offering for me to buy it off him. And I can never tell which ones I want, and usually I end up buying the lot. So with the money that I've given him over the past few months, Graham's just finished building the 4th turret onto the side of his castle. But Graham's he's a cracking bloke, and he started doing some YouTube videos as well, mostly about pickups that he's done, including look backs at Crash magazine. He's got an awfully big collection of retro magazines, etc. that he's going through, and those videos are really interesting. Again, go and check him out, give him some support, encouragement. He is just starting on this YouTube journey. And thirdly, we have Lord Fortescue's Gaming Odyssey. Again, not a Spectrum specific gaming channel, but there is a healthy concentration of Spectrum stuff in there, and his channel is slightly different in that he's created a character, and he reviews the games that he plays in the style of that character. Obviously it seems to be a little bit scripted, but it works quite well. It's quite humorous, I find, and it's another different way of doing things, which, you know, isn't a bad thing. So again, go and check out his channel. if you like what you see, give him some support, comments, etc. Subscribe to him, because you know that's what keeps people going. People need to know that they're doing stuff that people actually want to watch. But I've rabbited on far too much already. Links to all those 3 channels will be in the description bar below. Of course they will. So, the top 10 worst ZX Spectrum games that I own. And this is an amalgam of games that are still in my collection from my original collection, way back in the 80s. And some of them are games obviously that I've picked up along the way over the years and in recent months. Right, so without further ado, I've got the pile of them right here next to me. I'm just going to take a blind pick. Well, what have I got here? Oh, right, okay. Number 1. Action Biker from Mastertronic, featuring Clumsy Colin, who was the face of the KP Skips Crisps advertising campaign back in 1985, I think it was. And it's an abysmal game. I think it is anyway. Don't shoot me for saying this, but I believe the Commodore 64 version of the game is a completely different game and is actually really, 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 really good. I've never played it, but enough people say it is, so it must be. But the Spectrum version is just kind of poor, really. It's kind of a top-down perspective, you, Colin on his motorbike, and you've got to drive around town, interacting with locals, people in their house, etc., solving tasks and stuff. And I'm making it sound even more mundane than it actually is, which I didn't think was possible. I don't enjoy the game at all. Some of you might, some of you might not. Having said that, I've not played it for over 30 years, so it's possible that, you know, if I were to revisit it, I might find something a little bit more enjoyable out of it. I doubt it, but I might. So the next one was a bit of a disappointment for me when I first played it back in about 1986, I think it was, on a compilation. The original game, I've got the alternative software version of this, a budget re-release version. The original game was released by Martech, and it is Uchimata, which is stands for, if my memory serves me correctly from when I did Judo, stands for inner thigh throw, and it's basically where you basically squash the other person's bollocks with your thigh by, you know, slinging your leg up as hard as you can in between their legs, and then throwing them as well and landing on top of them. Particularly decent throw. But I used to do Judo when I was a kid. I really enjoyed it, and I was always sort of disappointed that there weren't any Judo games. It was all karate. You had your way, the exploding fists, International Karate Plus, although that was later, and another plethora of like fighting type martial art games, but nothing to do with Judo. And obviously the Spectrum's limitations, you know, Judo is not to do with punching and kicking. It's throwing, grappling, groundwork, locks and strangles. So there are no punches and kicks, and obviously it's a bit more complex of a sport to give an example of. Now, Martech tried, bless them. Brian Jacks was on TV all the time in the 80s, who sponsored Uchimata. Martech also released a Brian Jacks Superstar Challenge game, which I have over there, and I've never got around to playing it yet. Alongside Eddie Kidd's Jump Challenge and Jeff Cape Strongman, those are the 3, and Sam Fox Strip Poker, those are the 4 Martech sort of celebrity sponsored sort of games that I've got that I haven't got round to playing yet. Strangely, I think Sam Fox Strip Poker is going to be the first on the list. But Brian Jacks was on telly all the time, everywhere in the 80s, and was always on that programme Superstars, if you remember that, and he always used to win the thing, if I remember rightly. But so I was excited when Uchimata came out, and I was disappointed when I first played it. The animation's really, really nice, but it's got a kind of horrible flicker to the graphics. It's like grating your eyeballs on a cheese grater. Really, 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 really off-putting. And sadly, you know, it's a bit too complex of a sport, I think, for the dear old Specky to handle. Now, having said that, I can't think of any other Judo games over the years No, I can't. I don't. Maybe I don't know. Perhaps if some of you played some of the official Olympic games that have come out on recent, more modern day consoles, perhaps there was Judo involved in them somewhere. I don't know. But seeing as we've now got, you know, games based on the MMA and stuff like that, I don't see that a Judo game isn't possible. But perhaps it's not as exciting a martial art as karate or taekwondo or anything like that. But I was really disappointed with Uchimata, and I played it again recently, and it really is not very good. I suppose you've got to give them credit for trying, I suppose. This one was a recent one, subject of a recent video, and it's another alternative software release, and there's actually 2 games on this tape, so already the title of the video's gone a bit skew-if, you know, it's not quite accurate. And it's Electra 9000 Lunar Attack Vehicle. And there's a free game on the other side called Nightmare. Now, I've reviewed both of those games separately a while back, and Electra 9000 is a scramble clone, a shoot 'em up clone, and it's horrendously bad. And if that wasn't bad, then the game on the B-side, Nightmare, is even worse. It's kind of the worst Manic Miner clone that you could possibly imagine. It's rock hard. Everything about it is just, you know, offensive to the eye, to the ears. The collision detection is atrocious. The level design ain't brilliant either, and it's just probably one of the worst games I've actually played out of this lot since I started doing the unemulated series. I'm rabbiting on a bit here, aren't I? Right, I did look this time, so I know what I'm picking up. This is it's featured on either of my top 10 worst arcade conversions or top 10 worst sequels video. I can't remember which one. And we have Double Dragon 2. Now, I bought this in the Virgin Game Centre in Oxford Street in December of 1989. I know that because I've still got the receipt in the box there. I don't know if you can see that. And I don't even know why I did buy it. I don't know what the thought process it was going through my head at the time, because I wasn't a great big fan of Double Dragon. I never played the first one. I played it in the arcades, so that's why I was not a great big fan of it, and I had no intention of buying it, but somehow I ended up walking out with it. So I can only surmise that everything else in the shop was a pile of crap. Now, it's got some good points, you know, graphically it's not bad, but it's just so dull. It follows, you know, anything that came after Target Renegade had a sort of really difficult thing to try and live up to, you know, and whereas Double Dragon 2 does have the use of weapons involved. I don't know if the first one does. I don't know if you can, or if there's I think there's a third Double Dragon, whether or not there's weapons involved in that. But if you're going to put something in like that after, you know, what Target Renegade achieved on the Spectrum, I'm aware Double Dragon 2 in the arcade may have come out before Target Renegade on the Spectrum. But to me, there's no contest between the two. Target Renegade just nails the formula. Not only that, it's just not fun. Double Dragon 2 is just not fun to play. It's just a bit mundane and dreary, really. So yeah, there's that one. This one of the few reasons I was always jealous of my mates that owned the Commodore 64, oh, don't shoot me, was because they had the games on it. You had the summer, especially Summer Games and Summer Games 2, and used to love it. Used to love the national anthems and stuff like that. Wasn't any good at the sports or anything like that, but they were good fun to play. And the Specky never had them, and they did come out eventually on the Gold, Silver, Bronze compilation that was released. But for the until that came out, if we wanted to play the games, we had to play Summer Games and Summer Games 2 on Commodore 64s, because we didn't have any other option. And then when Epyx released Winter Games, the Spectrum got a fantastic version of it. I loved it, apart from the speed skating one, and I think there was another event on it that was a bit wanky. But it was brilliant. It was absolutely fantastic. Really, really enjoyed it. And then when I heard the Spectrum was getting California games, I went and got it. Without reading any reviews, I just went into the shop, and as soon as I saw it, I bought it thinking, yeah, this is going to be great. Because again, I'd had friends with Commodore 64s like extolling the game's virtues. And it's, if you don't know the premise of California games, sports like hacky sacking, BMXing, surfing, skateboarding and some other ones, and on the Spectrum they're all crap, they're all shit. There's nothing more that can be said about that version of the game. I failed myself spectacularly in the purchase of that one. That was but there are worse games that I've bought, trust me. Next one. Right, there was an awful lot of TV show licenses back in the day, an awful lot of popular TV shows, and some games were good, some were indifferent, and some were just fucking abysmal. And this next one is one of them. And those of us who remember the show that it's based on, we used to love it. It was fantastic, it was funny, it was full of action, it had a gorgeous bird in it. But the game that Elite brought out of Dukes of Hazzard was just horrifyingly bad. The only good thing about it is there's a picture of Daisy Duke on the front cover. Many a teenage boy's fantasy back in the day. I think you know what I mean, lads. But the game is just hopeless. It's, you know, you're in the General Lee and you're trying to run away from, it's like you're driving left to right across the screen at an incredibly slow speed. You've got to avoid other traffic by either blowing it up with sticks of dynamite or jumping over it. You've got to move in and out of the lanes as well, and you're being chased by the old Bill. Obviously, you know, part of the comedy of the TV show was the interaction between the Dukes and Boss Hogg, you know, the sort of sheriff of Hazzard County, and his deputy. Oh my God, forgotten his name. It was really funny. He was really funny. He was really thick. He had a basset hound as well, and he was always getting outsmarted and outwitted. And that was part. Oh, what was this? Don't know his name. Oh, that's going to bug me now. I'll have to look that up. Right. So anyway, that was a fantastic, fantastically bad game, the Dukes of Hazzard. This game is one of my original collection, and I can't be blamed for going out blindly and buying this without checking any reviews, and nor can I blame my parents for going out and buying it without knowing what they were buying, because it actually came in the 6-pack I got on my +2 that I got Christmas 1986. It's Legend of the Amazon Women. It's really, really crap. If you haven't played it and you're curious as to how bad it is, then go and check it out. Now, it's funny that unless they're worth money, like they're extremely rare, you end up with, when you make, or when I've been sort of like collecting bits and pieces, you end up with an awful lot of copies of crap versions. I've now got about 4 copies of Legend of the Amazon Women, because I think Mastertronic released it, or was it Mastertronic re-released it? And I've picked up a couple of them in various different collections off people. Hey, it's really, really abysmal. There's nothing good to say about that game at all. The next one I've done a video on, probably one of my most horrendous Spectrum games that I ever own. This is my fault. I did buy it. I did suspect it was going to be shit, and I bought it anyway. And I didn't even like the arcade game, Kung Fu Master, the Spectrum version. Probably one of the worst arcade conversions on the Spectrum, and there were some bad ones, but this, to me, takes the biscuit. It's slow, it's got terrible music, the graphics are awful, the collision detection's crap, the attribute clash is even worse. It's just, you can't believe how abysmal it is. Now, I have done a video on that about two years ago, where I compared it to a pile of horse shit, but at least horse shit's useful. You can use it to fertilise stuff. And the really, really bad thing is it loads every time I try. So I can't even, and yes, I do try it quite often, it's a guilty pleasure sometimes playing these crap games. Sometimes bad games are so bad they're actually good, if that makes sense. Now, again, another one that's going to throw the title of the video way out is Cassette 50 from Cascade. I've never played any of the games on this, but I've included it because it seems to be met with almost universal derision wherever it's mentioned. Apparently every single one of the 50 games is really bad, and I believe its big selling point was that it came with a free calculator watch. Now, I've never seen the calculator watch in the wild anywhere. Do any of you still own one that you got with your copy of Cassette 50? I've only ever seen the artist's impressions of it that came like in the gaming press at the time, Spectrum Gaming Press at the time, the big sort of with a spaceman wearing a calculator watch. So yeah, it came up with our tape loading error within about 5 seconds. So I think my Specky had decided it was going to give up and refuse to play it, which is a shame because I wanted to check them out. I wanted to see how bad they were, you know. Right, last game, and it's a stinker as well. Football games on the Specky, yeah, the only ones I ever really enjoyed. Micro Pro Soccer was okay, Match Day 2, and Emlyn Hughes International Soccer. All those are really good games. Everything else was either distinctly average, such as 11-a-side soccer from Codemasters, which I did a couple of weeks back, or really shit. And Peter Beardsley's International Football is the worst football game I've ever played. It's awful game. It's an offensive game. I wasted 10 quid buying that, and I loaded it up on the day I got it, and I just sat there with my mouth agape at how crap it was, and I turned it off after about an hour, and I never ever loaded it again until I did the video of it. In fact, no, I did that through Spectaculator, so I've never actually loaded that game since, and I don't think I'm ever going to, because it's horrid, really bad graphics. The football field looks like it's, you know, it's got the dimensions of a curly whirly. It's longer, you know, it's about 400 foot long and about 20 foot wide, and it's the game seems to be 50 a side. You can only choose certain teams. The controls, the keyboard controls, can't be redefined. As soon as the ball goes in the net, I mean, the minute it hits the line, you get the bit where it goes goal and then some stupid tune. The whole thing is just offensive, and it's really easy to score on it. You know, you can boot the ball from like miles away and it will go in the net. And I know that you can score from the halfway line in Emlyn Hughes, but Emlyn Hughes is a really well put together game. Peter Beardsley's International Football, shit. Yeah, right, okay, well that's it. Top 10 of my top 10 worst ZX Spectrum games in my own collection. What are yours? That's what I'm always interested in, you know, getting you involved in some discussion. What's the worst game you ever bought? What's the worst game you own, either from your original collection or up to this point now, Spectrum games? But you know, you can mention games from other eras and on other consoles if you like, broaden the conversation a little bit. I've got no problems with that. Thanks ever so much for watching. I have no idea how long this video has gone on for. I suspect it's a long time. Please check out those channels that I did mention at the very start, and if you like what they do, then please support them with a subscription, a thumbs up, etc. Hang on a minute. Oh, I went out for a walk earlier around the common. It was all dusty, the bit where people ride their horses. You know, it's some of it got as the wind blew up, it sort of like blew into my face a lot, and it's, you know, it's my hay fever not too good. But yeah, support it them in any way, shape or form that you can. Let them know what it is you like. Give them some, you know, some feedback about things that might work for them, etc. Similarly with myself, always open to discussion, always open to look at ways to change things. I'm not particularly high tech and never will be. You won't get any fancy intros out of me, etc. But if you do like the video, please let me know. Thanks for coming back and watching it. Thanks for being patient the last few weeks. If you wish to subscribe to the video, please do so. But as I said before, and as I say every time, if you're going to subscribe, please make an effort to actually contribute to discussion, etc., because that's what it's all about. Okay, I do enjoy it. Now it's Saturday evening. I've now got to get this uploaded and then hopefully get it onto YouTube, because my computer's been being a pain in the arse lately. Thanks ever so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and goodbye. Oh right, I just banged my knee on the side of the chair that the camera's on. Ouch.